intro? Or not? What if Danny one day just like didn't put music? What was that?
What was that? Was that Mario? Like Bowser's Castle, right?
I was
okay.
like, man, you should make up. You should be our new Carnitas, our new sound engineer, to make up the new
I saw
theme.
the castle on the.
Oh.
I was like, oh.
Well, with that, welcome back to another episode of Searching for McGuffin with your hosts, Gabe,
Link, Alek,
Alek. That's your name? Was that your first name?
Richard.
Wait, what? That's your first name?
You didn't know that?
Richard's my first name.
What's Alek?
His
my middle name?
It makes sense because Alek, not Alex, is kind of a weird name, like a unique name.
Like Alek.
Although
Sander.
we went to the beach the other day and we heard it, like someone was just calling, like they were frantically calling, Alek, Alek, Alek.
Are you Alek Ander?
No, just Alek.
Oh, Alek?
Like Alexander?
Yeah,
Alek Ander?
Alek Ander.
Ander.
Ander's a cool name, I think.
Cassian.
Andor.
Andor. Well, anyways, many of you really don't know who Alek is. Alek is a good friend of mine. That was weird. That we met in college, right?
Yes, in college.
And
Way back when.
he told him those rules. Now he's like, I don't want to like
2014.
2015, right?
15?
2015.
Yeah, we met back in college, and I thought he was a tool. I don't think I could say the other word. I thought he was a jerk. I didn't like him at first, mainly because someone told me they didn't like him, but that person doesn't like anyone. So.
Oh.
But then like he was also a part of like other friend groups, and I'm like, who's this guy trying to like worm his way into this? And I was like, I didn't know anything about him. I was just hating. I was a hater. And I don't even know his perspective. He was just kind of like, I'm just here for the vibes. I'm just chilling.
I mean, I could tell you didn't care for me.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone
Really?
give me like a death stare like that in my life.
Ah, but Gabriel's so nice.
I am so nice, but no, people said that to me. People were like, you have a really bad like RBF. Like I thought you were mean when I did it. Because a lot of people either see me play
But
like
you-
when I'm playing sports or like when I'm
Okay.
doing something. So like I guess I have a
Yeah, you get angry
Concentrated
competitively.
face.
Yeah.
yeah. And so yeah, I didn't like him at first, and then I was hanging out with his roommate a lot. I didn't know he was roommate, so like I went to go to his name is also Gabe. I went to go like knock on his door, and guess who answers the door? Is this guy?
Richard.
I do.
Alexander.
Richie.
Is this guy? And I'm just like, bro, why are you everywhere? Like, what the hell?
Why are you in your room?
But I'm thinking the same thing too. It's just like I keep seeing this man everywhere. I'm like, is he stalking me? Bro?
Yeah, bro. I was like, bro, you just got here, dude. Like, I don't know.
This is my kingdom now.
Yeah, sure. No, but yeah. So eventually, like, I go into the room. I come to see Gabe, and I see a Battlefront 2 poster on his wall, and I was like, that's what I was playing most of the time when I was over there, and I'm just like, Gabe, is that your Battlefront poster or something like that? And he's like, nah, it's mine. And I'm like, oh, you play Battlefront? You like Star Wars? And he's like, yeah, I like Star Wars. And after that, it was kind of just like, I think after that, we started hanging out more.
We started hanging out more, the mutual friends,
Yeah.
friend groups, and then, yeah.
I mean, after that, like, remember we saw like the Force Awakens trailer? And after that, like, we both got hype. And like at that point, like we knew that we had similar interests, but at that point, like, we matched each other's energy in a way like I don't think anybody else I've known that I've we've kind of met each other on that wavelength. And I think ever since then, we started hanging out a bunch. We started watching movies.
I think one of the things was like very similar. It's not just like about movies. I think it's how we view movies.
Yeah.
The thought process of how we go about watching them.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met anybody like that until you.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, it's very similar how I think of.
And I think it's because we have like kind of like a similar upbringing. Like we're both like pretty much only children. And so I think we both, gravitated and like we were able to like understand each other, you know, in a way that like, people with siblings don't. Like,
because it's like you get to learn from your siblings.
Yeah.
Or, you get that contrast of like, oh, I see this other viewpoint that you can obviously see like every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Us being only children, I think cartoons, movies, whatever the media was, it's just like I think we talked about it before. It's like I felt like that's where we learned a lot of things from. It's not like that taught us different.
Yeah, it was like getting a brother.
Yeah,
like, it was like getting a brother in college, and then he is like my brother. And so I think it was like when Force Awakens actually came out, and we watched it. Like that's what like cemented it. Like that was like we were boys from then on. And then it's been a fun time since.
But before that, you guys also had some history. You guys
school?
With school, yeah? You guys were
so
rival schools?
Yeah,
Rival schools,
Alek went to a rival high school
In Orlando.
from ours.
The O.
Yeah, he's from Orlando. And it's we would have some. I mean, not against him, but against like other people that went to his school because we played different sports. He played like basketball and volleyball, and
okay.
And then I just played
I'm not
soccer.
doing my feet like that.
I mean, he was our goalie in college.
Oh, that's right.
Soccer.
He was our goalie.
And
but again, not good with my feet like that.
Nah,
I was the goalie.
That's okay because
he's good at catching balls.
Nah, it was a clutch performance in the playoffs, semifinals.
All I can say is I helped them win something.
Semifinals. Our goal. I don't know where our starting goalie was. Like he was always like gone, like missing. Alex stepped up, came in clutch in a penalty shootout, took us to the finals.
You know what's so funny though?
And then we won.
Because I just asked jokingly to be on your team.
Yeah.
I was like, let me be the backup goalie.
Yeah, he was a joke, and we're like, yeah, sure, why not?
I was jokingly on the team too.
No, but you were the coach.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about soccer.
It's like Ted Lasso.
Yeah, but not positive at all. Just insulting everyone.
You were positive.
To you guys.
Oh, like everybody else?
Everyone else, I'm insulting them in Spanish because we were in Tennessee. And
I
know I can get away with saying curse words in
That's
Spanish
fine.
over there.
That's fine. Fine. More like a Ted Rope.
Ted Rope.
So we brought Alek. I mean, we've had this show on for 3 years, and I feel like Alek should have been on way sooner.
We've had Alek in mind.
Yeah.
We have activities planned where Alek was going to be part of them, but these activities haven't happened yet.
Exactly. They will. We're speaking that into existence.
That's right.
And it's going to come to fruition.
You have Zoom?
This is the first I've heard of this, folks.
No, it's not.
Nah, we talked to you about this.
The
No, I remember.
Yeah.
I have Zoom. I have forms of communication.
I have Zoom.
I am
You have a Zoom?
You got a Zoom? All right. So one of the things we were talking about, and I mean, I've had countless of conversations with Alek, just about life. And, since we had like a similar upbringing and, we've talked about a lot of things that we've experienced either, together. Like I've gone through hard times, he's gone through hard times, and we've like supported each other. And I know that we talked about the episode. You really liked the episode we had about community.
I really liked that episode.
What were some of the things that you liked about it?
I think it's good to kind of like what you guys did was like talk about what does community mean to you, because it can mean so much different for a lot of other people. And I think that's what gives it good perspective is I think what you guys touched upon a lot was there's so many different types of communities.
Yeah.
So it's just like, which it could be friendships, it could be just the community, like your local community of trying to
work community.
Work community. So I think it's important. Sometimes I feel like you get so disassociated from just the world at times.
Yeah.
And they could be your friends that you get to see, like you just kind of back off from, for countless of reasons. If the world, your life is crazy. So obviously we go through our own things, but I think it's good to come back to that community. It's like, it's important to have that because at the end of the day, I think
we're not meant to be alone.
We're not meant to be alone.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I really love that episode.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
when we were talking about community, you're part of that too.
Yeah, you came up. I mentioned you, right?
I do remember it, yeah. That's also why it was my favorite.
I got a shout out.
No, I think Alek has definitely been one of those, those core members of that group, that we've had. We have like a strong
group chat. Yeah.
It's kind of like a brotherhood,
A fellowship, if you will.
A fellowship. I like that. But yeah, so Alek had mentioned something earlier about how we, view movies and like, how someone takes, and I mean, kind of like the point of the show is like why these things are important to us, why these things, why we gravitate toward these stories and how like we can apply certain things into our own lives and take certain things away. And I mean, the amount of times that that we've had conversations like you, me, and George, I probably had just as many with Alek, about like every time that a new movie comes out and we both watch it, we both call each other and we get into it and like, why do we like this? Why do we love? And one of the movies that we saw, not together, we saw it separately, right?
We saw it separately. Yeah.
Was, and I mean, this one was, I guess, hotly contested, was The Last Jedi. And I mean, we both love that movie.
Y'all like that movie, yeah. Wait, which is that one?
The second one.
The second one, yeah.
The sequels.
Yeah, I don't remember them by names, but yeah.
So that's a movie that like we both had talked about because it was very different.
Yeah.
And I remember at first when it came out, I didn't really know how to feel about it. I knew that it was like good, but I was like, it was so different. I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. And I watched it after. I was like, I love this movie. This movie's fantastic. I mean, not to like the internet.
Yeah.
Well, the vocal.
You might get canceled for saying that. You too.
That's crazy, because I have actually. You know what? We'll do another Star Wars episode. We're gonna have some takes.
Some hot takes. Star Wars hot takes.
They shouldn't even be hot takes, but the internet is a terrible place.
Oh, but I need to.
That's when you come back.
Alek will come back for that one. But yeah, like Alek, that's like where's it in your ranking of Star Wars movies?
It's my second favorite.
It's
Star
top
Wars
2.
movie.
What?
Top 2. And I'm telling you, like,
what's number 1?
The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
And that's what I'm telling you. Like, this guy is like, he's like on me, like on that level, like with Star Wars. I think.
But you have to defend that take, like the people.
I'm always strapped.
Yeah. I know you are. Yeah.
Always strapped.
But like you say that, and it's not going to be an easy conversation.
No, absolutely not.
But I think it's like, and I feel like it's. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's up there on that list because that you see it more than just a Star Wars movie.
Yes.
You've taken things from it, like we were discussing. You take things from it and you apply it to your life. And I think, in certain instances, in different like instances in our lives, some things just hit us harder. Some things are just in that point in time. This applies to me. This is appealing to me, and it's like this is something I'm taking to heart, and I'm going with it because it's like you could be going through something, in a similar fashion, a similar vein. Not necessarily the same thing that was the movie, but they can take the commonalities from it, and that could hit you harder, and they can like leave a lasting impression rather than someone who was just like going to enjoy it, just like I'm just gonna watch it. I'm just gonna watch a film. I'm gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna catch it, and that's it. Like they have a good time, and that was that. They enjoyed it or they hate it, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's I feel like you had an experience where that movie helped you, with things in your life was going on in your life.
That movie was therapy for you?
It was, I think, till this day, I look back on it a lot. It's still one of the most therapeutic moments of my life was that movie. And just like Gabriel, though, like, I didn't know how to feel about it the first time I saw it either. I didn't know if I liked it.
Same. I'm like, do I like this?
It was so different that it wasn't like I was like, oh, this is not Star Wars. It was just.
It's not how Star Wars is
not how
been presented to us.
Yeah, it was just very. I don't even want to say very different because I think as I've rewatched it, it's actually very Star Wars. The more I've seen it,
but I also feel like you said, like it was presented in a different way, and we weren't used to some of the things that we saw, and I think that's the point. And I think now that we're some like time has passed and we're moving on, it's like it's become Star Wars. It's made it its own. It's made like its own thing.
Yeah.
It's because I feel like that's important in the franchise that you love, like because if you don't take some risks, if you don't go, like it's never gonna grow, it's never gonna expand, and it's like if it's gonna be this limited self-contained thing, then it's like sometimes that like you're gonna get what you get like with the sequel trilogy. It's just like you're gonna be repeating the same thing over and over again, and you're just gonna be stale.
Yeah,
you're gonna run out of stories to tell. But no, like I remember because I watched it twice in the same night. I watched it the first time, and then I was like, crap, I don't know. And then I think you guys came in. You were there, right? For the
I think I was in California.
Really? 16? 17, 2017. I feel like you were.
No, man. I remember watching that one in California. When did that movie come out?
2017.
December.
Okay, then yeah, we were together.
Anyways, but it was like I went, I think, to the early showing, and then afterwards, the larger friend group, and I can remember watching it afterwards.
I was in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it was end of 2016.
No, it was it was a Christmas. I
Yeah.
watched it in California. I got back the following day, and I watched it with you guys.
But it was 2017 going to 2018.
I watched it in California because I remember I watched it with friends, and that wasn't you guys, and it felt weird because I had before that I watched all my Star Wars movies with you guys.
Oh, because we saw Rogue One together.
Yeah, exactly.
2016.
And it felt. I remember thinking, "No, this feels weird. Where's Gabriel?"
Oh, it hadn't come out because we drove. We remember we recreated that picture.
Yeah.
Let's see if Danny can post that. I'll give it to him. We recreated that picture because the Star Wars images had dropped.
Yeah.
And then we recreated that picture with Luke and
Ray.
Ray. Yeah. Good times. Anyways, this movie was powerful. Like, to me, because it's like we finally get to see Luke Skywalker after all this time, after like the boberia of Force Awakens that doesn't even like show him, and like he's towards the end, and I'm like,
he's
bro,
teased at the end, yeah.
And it's like finally we get him back.
Kind of like Zendaya in Dune. You see her at the end, and that's it.
You see her sprinkled.
Sprinkled, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I really did, like, I was hyped because Luke Skywalker is like my favorite character in everything. You know, like I was anticipating. I was just like, what's gonna happen? And then when we got it, I was like, huh.
It's not what I wanted.
Huh. I mean, because like you expect Luke to just be this, you know, this badass character who's like in the black and the green lightsaber and everything, and then you get like this old, like, whiny, mopey old man. Then I'm just like,
overweight.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. But it's like the more time that passes, I mean, you can get into it. It's like you kind of understand more and more, and that's when you get to the central theme of the film, which is
failure, like
disappointment,
fear of failure.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that that you loved about it, and
is that what the topic is today? Because you guys planned it, and I don't know. Is a topic failure?
Yes, bingo.
Hey.
There we go.
Yeah, they knew what the topic was and told me. They told me I'd have to figure.
He's like, used to figure it out.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, what are some of my favorite things?
About the movie or failure?
I guess we'll get into both.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'll go with the movie first.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was one of the. It was Luke Skywalker for me. That was like Gabe. I didn't know how I felt about it because it was like what they did to Luke.
Yeah.
But at that time of my life, because I had met you guys at
it's
Southern,
school. Yeah, at school.
School. I left, and then I didn't go back to school for a couple of years. I was in a really weird place in my life.
Which is interesting because I never left. I didn't realize you had left because I felt like you were always there.
Right. I kept going.
You kept going back and forth. So I'm like, hey, Alek.
Yeah.
I didn't know you'd left until someone told me he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't go here.
Alek hasn't been here for 3 years, brother.
Like,
where you been?
And I was like, what? We played soccer together.
We did. I did.
Yeah, so I was so confused by that.
Yeah. So I was just in a really weird place in my life. So with the topic, my biggest thing in life was like I was always afraid of failing. I think that was the one thing that's always held me back.
Failure.
But not even just the failure and stuff, like fear of even getting to that point. So not even trying to do things because I was afraid of failure.
Not even taking the shots.
Right. So seeing how Luke was presented in the movie
As a failure,
one of my heroes growing up, because I've always, we all most of media knows, like the twin sons scene in A New Hope is like one of the most iconic.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
It's just, wanting to venture off and do whatever you want to do. I think that's the whole point of that scene, was just like, I want to get off of where I am, and I just want to go on a journey. So to me, how Luke was presented, it just made me feel like even your greatest heroes, the people that you look up to, can fail and still come back from it.
Yeah.
Like I think people forget in the movie, like he becomes the legend that everybody wanted him to be. And he didn't want to do it, but he did it anyway because he knew that's what he had to do. Like, he still came to that conclusion. Like, I get it. Like, I don't want to, but I see that my lasting impact is
I have to do it, yeah.
shape and kind of, not course correct, but it's going to take the new rebellion forward.
Yeah.
Like, my journey's done. But I need to be the spark. And that's another thing. The whole movie is like that spark that they talk about.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie. It's like just lighting that spark. So he was the final like spark that really started that flame. So I just think, to me, like, that gave me a sense of peace of like, wait, I can. And then the Yoda. Oh my God, I haven't even mentioned the Yoda.
I was gonna mention it.
The whole Yoda scene with Luke, like him coming back and talking to Luke about like saying, failure is the greatest teacher. You don't learn if you don't do.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't succeed, even if it does succeed, you're learning constantly, regardless. You know if something works or if it doesn't work, and you just.
Which I think, I mean, like, I feel like that kind of goes back to that, that statement that Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try. So I feel like if you have it in your head that, like, well, I'll try. It's just like that part. It might never get done. You're kind of. I mean, I don't know. You're half-assing it basically. You're not thinking that it's like, I'm gonna do this. It's like you're gonna do it, and if you decide that, whether it gets done or not, you did it. You attempted.
Yeah. If
you have this mentality like, oh, I'm gonna try, like, that you might like succumb to the fear of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe what if I'm not good at it? What if I'm
and give up?
Yeah. What if I'm like, you don't even try. You don't even do.
Yeah.
You don't even attempt it in the first place. So it's like, what I got from the film, like, how you were saying failure is the greatest teacher. It's like, this movie is so Star Wars, bro. To the fact that like when people say it's not, I'm like, how? Like, how can you watch that movie and say that? Like, there's stuff in that movie that I'm like, that's kind of whack. Like Canto Bite and stuff like that. But it's like 5 minutes. Or like 10 minutes, whatever. But the lessons that it teaches, and it's like, when the books are being burned and Luke is like, but the sacred Jedi text, and Yoda's like, brother, you're missing the point. Like, she says she has everything she needs. And because it's like, you imparted these skills of teaching to her. And I mean, going back to, Luke is my favorite hero, and how he was saying, like, you see your hero crumpled up, you see your hero as like a loser basically, and I had a hard time like accepting that. I'm like, bro, this guy was supposed to be like, like the freaking savior of the universe, and to find out like, oh, like it didn't really turn out that way. But you think about it, and people get on the, and I actually want to hear what you have to say. People get on the movie like Rian Johnson about like, Luke Skywalker never like kill a kid or attempt to kill a kid or think about killing a kid. I'm just like, brother,
have you met his dad?
Brother, he saw, not to even mention the PTSD, but he saw another like mini Hitler, like space Hitler, going to terrorize the galaxy, terrorize the universe, and it's like he got triggered for like, and he said like it's split second, and he passes like a fleeting shadow. Like, it's not even like he was gonna attempt, and sometimes like, I think people misinterpret the fact that with a lightsaber and Luke looking viciously like he's gonna kill Kylo. To Kylo, that's probably what it looked like. Yeah. That angry, thing that, that angry man that's about to like murder him.
You're waking up, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, to him, with Snoke already talking to him, Snoke already like flirting with the idea of going to the dark side, and him like starting to think about things differently, and from his perception, That's what he saw. But then you see Luke's point of view, and it's like he said, like he says, it passes like a fleeting shadow, and he has to live with the decision. He regrets the decision, but also he has to live with the fact that what he saw ended up coming to pass. Murdered millions and billions of people, you know, and he's responsible for teaching this person. And even more for the fact that like that is his sister's son and his best friend's son.
Yeah.
Like that, there's so much that goes into like the perspective of what Luke went through that people are just like, oh, bro, he should just be, he's Luke Skywalker.
OP.
He's beyond that. He's more than that. And it's like, brother, like, could you imagine? Like, could you put yourself in someone's shoes like that? Like, if they had to... Yeah, go ahead.
No, for sure. But, like, I think another thing, too, is, like, you see Kylo's point of view. And I think that's where everybody kind of, like, for whatever reason, the mass audience is like, that's the point of view. That was the point of view that everybody sticks with, like, what Kylo sees. I don't understand why that's, like...
You seen the evil guys.
And then, like you said, but I think it's funny because Luke gives another false perspective before that he tells Rey before that. He gives, like, a perspective that he wishes was the outcome that he wanted it to be. And then he gives the perspective of this is what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's another point, too, is just, like, I think that's the point of coming to terms with the failures. Like, I got to own up to those demons, those mistakes, and not keep lying or kind of hiding those things.
Not being a hermit.
Yeah, you know? So I think that was him opening up finally a little bit more.
And that's the thing. I mean, even going back to the community thing, man. I mean, I feel like personally for me, like there's been so many times where it's like, you know, you invite me to go hang out, you invite me to do things where people like, you know, reach out and stuff, and I just get down. Like I don't know for whatever reason something's happened in my life. I just want to seclude myself. I want to alienate myself. I want to become like a hermit. And like, you know, granted, like there are times, like, you know, having your own personal time and time with yourself is important and stuff like that. But there's times where it's like, if that persists and it becomes a pattern, it becomes a habit that you're not seeing your friends, you're not seeing anyone, you're not going outside and doing stuff, you're not like socializing and anything.
Yeah.
And because that's the more time you spend with yourself in that mentality, you're just ruminating in
your shame
in that headspace, and it's pulling you down deeper and deeper and deeper to the point where like you realize, oh, like there's something I have to change or something, but it's so hard because you've already made it a habit. Yeah. And it just becomes a cycle where it's like you're like, oh, maybe I could try this out, maybe I could do something new, or maybe I could, you know, approach this person and talk to these people. But then that voice in your head goes, it's gonna go terrible. It's gonna suck. They're not gonna like you. They're gonna think you're weird. They're gonna like whatever. You're gonna fail at it. You're gonna suck at this. And you don't even try. You don't even attempt it. You're just like, okay. Like, I'd rather be comfortable and just go about my business and not take any risks, not do anything, and that, like, when you start doing that in the small things, that tends to like show up in the big things too. Yeah. And you start to miss opportunities that could change your life. And there's things that, like, for a certain point, I think everyone needs to go through their own battles, their own like journey. And there are things like you are missing the point sometimes. And you were missing the opportunities that would be brought. And if you would just say yes, if you would just be open to certain things, because you're scared. Yeah.
Imagine how just different Luke would have been instead of secluding himself in that planet. He went to community. The problem was that his community was his family, and he literally tried for a second killing his nephew. So he could be telling himself, "Wow, my community would never forgive me for doing that."
Right.
But then he
could never forgive himself
from doing that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's, I was just thinking about that as you're talking about that. Like, we do this to ourselves. We seclude ourselves when we think, when we feel like, I'm trying to find the words here. I'm putting myself in Luke's feet. Like, I know I made a mistake, right? I know I made a mistake. And, I know that many times we feel like people are going to judge us for our mistakes, right? But that's what you call an imaginary audience. Yeah. Like, you think what people are going to say about you or think about you, when in reality it's not true at all. And I feel like that's what happened to Luke. He had this imaginary audience thinking that, oh, my sister's never going to love me. My best friend Han is not going to do anything. He's going to be mad at me because I tried killing his kid, right? So the only solution is seclusion, to run away from my problem.
Yeah. I think and I understand that's why people don't like the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand that's their whole point of Luke is like he would never do that.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have. He's always the optimistic.
Yeah.
Most optimistic character in terms for a lot of people in media. But
yeah, he didn't succumb to his dad's dark side. He still had faith in his dad. He's been presented to us as a very optimistic person.
Right. But it's like it's funny because it's like you see him try to kill his dad for a little bit in Return of the Jedi too. But I think people don't understand either. It's like Luke was doing that because he thought that was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. He explains the whole movie like the Jedi are the cause for so many years of so many problems. Like they let Palpatine rise under their noses without realizing. He said like it was the Jedi that helped create Darth Vader, which is all true.
Yeah,
like you can't say looking back he's like he has points, but then Rey hits him with but it was a Jedi that brought him back.
She kind of like reminds him. She's kind of like a reminder of what he used to be, what he used to stand for, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, that's who Luke was even as a kid. Like when he's talking to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's like, "Bro, you got to kill your dad. Like, there's no other way around it. You need to stop him. He needs to die." And Luke's just like, "Nah, dude." He has the same conversation. He's like, "He can be saved. I can do it." Like there's still hope in him because he senses it because like that's his dad, but he still sees that this tormented person can still come back to the light. There's still an opportunity for redemption to be had.
Right.
And if he can save him, if he can save just one person, if he can save that one person, then that's enough for him. And that is, to me, what Luke Skywalker has been through all these years. Whether it be video games, whether it be books, whether it be shows, whatever it is, Luke Skywalker is a person that helps other people. He is a hero. He's a person that uses his abilities to help and protect the ones that can't do it themselves. He's like the definition of a knight. Yeah. And he's a representation of hope for like a lot of people. And I can understand why when people see it's like that's not what they pictured, that's not what they envisioned, because we so many times create these false projections, these false fantasies in our head of like what a story should have been.
Well,
like.
It's not false because it's what they've been given. You get me?
Yeah, but I'm saying like in that time, because I'm talking about like after Return of the Jedi, and like you have books where you read, and he was that legend, he was becoming that, but it's like they thought like, oh, he just would have been this like uber powerful, which I guess it's true because they've had canon, not canon, the EU stuff, but I'm saying like they let that disrupt, the story that's being told,
that's telling,
exactly. And it's like, if it doesn't match up with your headcanon, it's garbage. And it's like, I don't think that's fair. I don't think you've given it a fair shot. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I understand that. But some of the reasons, some of the points that I've heard and that I've read, it's just, I feel like if you can look past this, I feel like you can actually get something from it. Yeah. But I mean, that's not my job to there's times like I was throwing hands with everybody. Like, metaphorically, just like, defending that movie to the point where I'm like, you like what you like, if you don't like it, okay, yeah, I can accept that. I'm fine with that. But yeah, like going back to like Luke is that ultimate character, that ultimate hero, and to see a character like that, someone you look up to, someone you aspire to be, it's like broken, that's a game changer. Yeah, because it's like
it humanizes him a little bit more.
Yeah, it shows
you can relate to him.
It shows you that like not everyone is infallible, Yeah. Like he can fall. And like you said, like it makes him more relatable. To the point where like he was once this great hero, this legend, as he even brings it up in the movie. And some like, life happens, life gets in the way, and like certain like tragedies happen. And he let those tragedies weigh him down, sink him, like keep him down there for years, to the point where like, and that's the thing, the opportunity to help other people, the opportunity to stop the First Order from even forming or starting up in the first place,
you allowed it to happen.
He wasn't there. because it's like, I mean, throwing a Civil War reference, like when Peter Parker is talking to Tony when he's trying to recruit him, and then Peter's talking about when he got his powers and like not playing sports or doing anything, and he's like, when you can do the things that I can do, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you. You have the opportunity, you have the ability to protect others, to just help other people, and you don't, then that's on you, man. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like Luke had to realize that, and he needed someone like Ray to bring that back. And I feel that sometimes in our lives that happens to us. Did you have a Ray moment? Did you have
Did you have a Luke moment where?
I had a Ray moment.
Okay, not a Luke moment where you sucked the milk out of a
like
out of a blue monster.
Alien's teat. No, not that. Like a Ray moment in terms like someone was a Ray.
Someone or
to
something,
me.
whatever, like an
Someone
experience
was
happened.
a ray of hope.
A ray of hope. I like that. Yeah, I've had I think multiple moments throughout time after that were like very beneficial just in those specific points in my life.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like it's a wake up call. Cuz it's like I think we've talked about a lot, you and me, Gabriel, and Link. I think this is, you know, you probably had, I don't know if Gabriel's told this to you. It's like you got to remember who you are sometimes too, you know. It's like we're great people and we tend to forget that sometimes, you know. It's just like, you know, I'm not trying to like gloat or saying like I'm better than other people. I'm just saying like,
but you lost your ways.
But like
you lost confidence,
respecting yourself.
You're living in your shame and
lost respect,
guilt, and you're
for yourself. And it's just like you got to remember like the good you have done too.
And that's why community is important, because if you can't realize that on your own, someone else has to tell you that.
Right.
You get me? And when you're by yourself, no one's gonna tell you that.
Right.
You'll live years by yourself, a hermit, thinking this until someone finally comes and tells you their perspective and helps you see things differently.
For sure. And the Luke moment, yeah, you know, obviously, like, it's one of those things where Luke is that one of the greatest characters ever in media. And you see, like this dude right here, you know, or Anakin Skywalker, or there's some great characters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, they all...
Timmy.
But they all kind of go down a different route and a different path to do it. Like, in terms, like, how the kids say nowadays, they stand on business.
Standing on business.
You know? So it's just like... but they do it in a very aggressive and emotional ways of doing things. Luke is like that. Always tries to do the right thing. Like, even... him leaving, being secluded, like he was trying to do the
he
right,
thought
what he thought was the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the overarching thing for Luke, is like what he tries to teach. The lesson is always do the right thing. You, like he says, you make the choice. You always have a choice. Yeah. He made a choice, and he went. He did what he had to do. Yeah. Anakin, he did what he had to do.
He also drank something blue.
He did.
From a monster.
Wow. Interesting.
Curious.
No,
man. I think, and I mean the comeback. You know, the redemption that Luke finally has. You know, where he does something
that's never been done before.
Incredible, yeah, and like it's something that's, you know, different, and I think. I mean, the sequels be what they be. I feel like they had, like, you know, a mix of ideas that weren't, like...
No structure.
There's no structure. Yeah, they weren't coherently...
There's like two people working on them.
Yeah. Like, however, like, certain things pay off. But I think in the movie, in, like, The Last Jedi, I feel like, you know, he tries. I feel like he tries for Kylo, for Ben. But he kind of knows he's kind of far. But he tells is it Leia? He's like, nobody's ever really gone, you know? I mean, I feel like that's something like we say to her on the regular.
But even then, he helps out the one that later on convinces Ben to come back.
He was like, he wasn't the one. He wasn't the one, but he plays a part in it.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't like bringing up this movie, but The Rise of Skywalker, there are things that I think pay off from The Last Jedi. I think obviously there's things where didn't correspond as well, like kind of went backtracked on certain things, but I think there's other things where it's like, no, it really pays off. And I, like you said, like ultimately he helped the one that helped Ben bring back, but it's multiple people, like
she helps him, which he helps her,
right,
and then she brings back Ben,
right. And it's like, but telling Leia too, like nobody's ever really gone. Leia was the one that kind of brought her son back too in a lot of ways.
But then she gets gone.
Yeah, but it's like waiting for. It's like she's still alive in terms of like her body is still there.
Yeah, and
then when he leaves, and then she leaves with him.
She arises on the third day.
It's just like I feel like there are. Luke really, because you see at the end of the movie too, like the kids are talking about like the legend of Luke Skywalker, what he literally did at the end of the movie. Those kids we see from Canto Bight, like the kids are playing with their little.
Do you remember that? It's like the last scene of the movie.
I just remember
and like Stick Boy, Broom Boy.
I just remember Broom Boy. Oh yeah.
So,
the one before.
So the other kid is talking about like the legend of Luke Skywalker. Like that's the legacy. That's the impact.
Yeah,
and he did that. Because like he knew that's what he had to do. He came, people. That's what it's a circle of life thing. People are gonna help you. You're gonna help people.
Yeah,
and it's gonna come right back around to help you again.
Yeah, until you learn the lesson, it's gonna keep coming back to you. It's gonna keep on coming back until you learn it, and then you move forward from that. And I think that's the thing. Like when you watch these movies, it's like sometimes, it really is just fun to watch. It's entertaining, but other times, like you see certain things, and certain things like stand out and speak to you. And it's just you use that, moving forward in life. You draw a little bit from everything, and you make choices from that. And I think that to make that choice in the first place, you gotta get out of your head sometimes.
Yeah,
a lot of the times, because when you're in your head, you overthink things, and it causes unnecessary stress and anxiety. And even if you half-heartedly try to do something, that mentality, that mindset will affect the outcome, will affect how you execute whatever it is that you're trying to do. And it's like, when you have, this nervousness or anxiety, or you're not sure about what you're doing, it can be tough because, that's going to obviously play a role.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this movie. I love that you see someone that is a broken person, was so high as a regarded as a legend, and just had a huge fall from grace, and became something that he was never meant to be in the first place. Someone that just watches, someone that just stands on the sidelines. But a lot of times that's us, a lot of times like we're just on the sidelines watching when we should be in the game, and we should be making the choices, making decisions, even if they're hard, even if they are extremely difficult, or we have hard times with them. I think it's something that we gotta get out of our head sometimes and just do it. You just gotta send it. And then I think the more you make choices like that, the more you realize, hey, I'm okay. It's not the end of the world. I didn't die. It's not like anything that I thought that the anxiety was telling me, or that the stress, or the sadness was telling me that was gonna happen. And little by little, I think you keep building on that. You keep building on that, and you keep growing until and then I feel like it gets progressively, like sometimes things in life are gonna hit you harder, but you will be more equipped to handle those things. Yeah, because it's like you've been putting in the work, and those are the things that I love about this character, and I love about this movie, and I think that at the end of the day, like I just wish people would see it that way, because I think it's a beautiful story. I think if you could just see it in a different way, then maybe it'll change your how you feel about it, and because it's helped me and Alek so much. It's like it could help you. It could help someone that
I think you should take that just in life though, too. It's just I would love people to love that movie. I think it's aged better. I think a lot more people are coming around
it,
to it now.
I mean, it's helpful when after it sucks so much.
Right.
That's true.
And I think as time goes along, it's just like the prequels. Like the people that grew up with those movies, they get older, they start talking about it. And those,
I feel like Gen Z and Gen Alpha will love these.
That's
movies.
their Star Wars, and that's
The
even the
hell's
Rise
a
of
Gen Alpha?
Skywalker.
What's the next? It's the last one?
Yeah,
Alpha?
it's what my niece is. Yeah, Alpha.
She's Alpha? Dang. Continue.
Alpha,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Omega. Sorry. No, so it's just like even the Rise of Skywalker. Like those are their Star Wars. People, I can't take away. I'm not ever gonna bash someone.
Yeah.
People bash me for loving that movie, and it's like no, I will never, because I know what everything is subjective. Everything means something to anybody, and I'm never gonna say someone to love it, because if they hate it for the purposes of good reasons of why, I get it, but at the same time, like what we're saying, I just think you need to take that lesson and just apply it to life. I think you need to just accept that not everything is ever as it seems, and you should never try to, I guess, take control of things that you have no control over.
Yeah, once you realize like you try to control things that you really don't have any control over, and that you sometimes you let go, but you control the things that you can control, which is yourself and how you react. Because situations might happen to you that are out of your control, but how you react and how you go about it, that's 100% what you can control. And I think we focus more on that instead of trying to control the different outcomes. Just realize that certain things are gonna happen, and you just gotta roll with the punches and deal with it. And yeah, I mean, the movie's awesome. I don't know what else to say, because I am grateful that you were here.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
I was very happy to get on, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you back for that. What we said we were gonna bring him back for?
Mystery Project? No, it was the
hot takes.
The hot takes, Star Wars hot takes. Let's do it.
I'm down.
It's recorded right after this.
No, we'll do hot takes with some hot wings.
Oh.
Let's get some hot ones on.
Yeah. If only we made a hot ones episode.
If only we made a hot ones episode.
If only that ever, happened. Anyways. Yep. Thank you for coming, man, and hope to have you soon again on the show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I love you guys.
I love you too, Alek. Alexito.
Alexander.
Alexander.
All right, everybody.
Learn from your failures.
Yeah.
Fail. You need to fail. If you don't fail, you don't grow.
Exactly.
100%.
That was a great pep
That's
talk.
literally how you summarize this episode.
Clip that. Anyways, have a great week, everybody. Fail and also succeed.
One more thing. I am Paul Mahdi Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. Sorry.
Son of Leto Atreides.